I'm going to start with verse 1 as I did last time, and I'm going to read 1 through 4, and then we'll pick up and run with it from there. Let's see here. All right, yeah. Revelation chapter 21, starting with verse 1. It says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away." Praise God. All right.
All right, we're just going to go slowly through this, and we had a little preliminary thing last week, so we're going to go over some of the same verses, not all of the same verses, but sort of go through it. And it really, I don't know, people seem to try to make these last two chapters very complicated, and they're really not complicated. You know, all the complicated part was before, I guess. You know, so we'll just try to go along with it easy, and we'll do some scriptures, and we'll see that everything talked about in Revelations chapter 21 and 22 has been talked about throughout the Bible in many different places. So this isn't new stuff. People look at it and say, well, that's all different and new. No, it's not at all. And it's pretty good stuff, and it's enjoyable stuff. So I'll start back there with Debbie and have her read chapter 21, verse 1 and 2. I'm going to go with you, Jimmy, if you'll go to Matthew 24:35, and Pastor, if you go to Isaiah. No, I'm good. I'll get you 2 Peter 3:5 through 13.
Do you care which translation?
King James.
Right.
And
2 Peter 5.
huh?
2 Peter 5. I got you. Okay. Yeah.
And Chip, if you would go to Isaiah 65:17, and then we'll talk about that. Then we'll go back to John chapter 14, 2 through 3. So, all right, Debbie, we're going to read the first two verses.
Okay. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. And I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, like a bride beautifully dressed for her husband.
All right, Jimmy, Matthew 24:35.
Okay, here we go. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in breaking of bread. You said 24:35. Wait, I'm in the wrong place.
That's all right.
I've been Luke. What am I doing to Luke? I've been in Testament. Excuse me.
Luke's very good.
24:35.
Yeah. Matthew, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I got Matthew now. See, I'm all pieces of bread out here. Okay, let's see here. Okay, 35. Here we go. 24:35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
So we've already been told that heaven and earth are going to pass away. Right. You know, people read over that, and they read over it real quickly, and they don't think, when they read over that God is telling them heaven and earth is going to pass away. And it is going to pass away, just like he said it was going to pass away. So it's not anything new. If you read over there, Chip, Isaiah 65:17.
Look, I am creating new heavens and a new earth, and no one will even think about the old anymore.
He told us in the Old Testament. He's told us in the New Testament, in several different places. Hey, I'm creating a new heaven, a new earth, and the people don't even want to think about the old one anymore. And if as you've been going through tribulations with us, you realize, well, people won't want to think about the old one anymore, because the last 7 years of the old earth is. Thankfully, we won't be here to witness that. And Pastor, 2 Peter 3:15 5 through 13. Did I get it right?
3, 5 through 13.
Second, yeah.
For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word, are kept in store, reserved unto fire against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as one day. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hasting unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens, being on fire, shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat? Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth, wherein dwelleth righteousness.
So there it also is in 2 Peter. 2 Peter gives us a little more information than the other two verses. But he talks about, and we know that during the tribulation periods, there was earthquakes, there was hurricanes, there was floods and blood in the water, there torrential rainstorms, mudslides, but there also was fire and brimstone. And here Peter tells us how this earth is going to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed by fire. It's going to be burned up. And how the heavens are going to be destroyed. They're going to be destroyed by fire also. This thing is going to burn, and it's going to be gone. And, people have a hard time with that. But, I read one commentary the other day about the New Jerusalem and that we had to go up to it. But the Bible clearly states it's coming down to us,
That's right.
Now, the us is the ones who are living on this earth. We are in heaven, and then we come back to earth during the millennial reign, and then the heavens come down to us. See? All right, so we'll go with this. Then I saw the new heaven and the new earth, for the old heaven and the old earth had disappeared, and the sea was also gone. Now, what do you guys take about the sea also being gone? Is there going to be any water in heaven?
Yes.
He says yes. He might know what he's talking about.
Sorry. just put it out.
Yeah. Okay. So we know in Revelation chapter 22 they talk about the river of life flowing down through the city of Jerusalem. So there's a river. So there is a body of water. So I don't know that this means oceans, but because we don't see anything about oceans, well, we don't know. But he said there'll be no more sea. So maybe large bodies of water like oceans won't take up so much land mass. I don't know. But we know there's going to be rivers. So people read that and say, well, there's no water in heaven. Well, yes, there is water in heaven. Just read the next chapter, So there's at least rivers. May there be lakes or ponds or I don't know. I don't see why not. But it says no more sea. So I'm thinking that means large bodies of water, like the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic Ocean or something like that. Go ahead.
So a couple of things. One, the Sea of Galilee is considered a sea. The Dead Sea is considered a sea. Those are very small bodies of water compared to the ocean. But then we also have the
Jimmy
sea
was
of,
around when
he
was still sick.
Instead of the Dead Sea, it was the Sick Sea. Is that Jimmy,
I
I
heard that,
wouldn't
I
let
heard
him talk to you. I wouldn't talk to you about that.
It was the 6th seed, and that's the death.
That's the Dead Sea. Okay, so anyways, but we have come out with so much stuff, scientifically speaking, about our ocean able to control the Earth's temperature and soak up various different things.
Yeah.
The heat, carbon emissions, these kinds of things that causes our Earth to warm, and then yet the sea regulates the temperature. But if the temperature is regulated, then the sea's purpose is null and void. You know, if this new heaven or new earth that God gives us doesn't have all this back and forth stuff, then what's the purpose of the ocean if the ocean regulates the earth's temperature? You see what I'm saying? Thus the reason there's so much ocean compared to how much land there is. I mean, we can look at it so many different ways and think, well, my gosh, there's no purpose. There's no need if there's no purpose.
That's right.
Or there'll be so much people. You know, we talked about how many people there were going to be moving forward. That land is going to be more necessary, than ocean. I don't know. There's so many thoughts. Or yes, it could just be large bodies of water. Like again, the Sea of Galilee was a large body of water. They got a ship and went to the other side, but it wasn't the ocean. It was the sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's all kinds of thoughts on that, and I too have heard so many weird thoughts that this world is not going to burn. The Bible says it's going to burn, but that's not what that means. And it's like so many different scriptures say it's stored up for fire. It was the flood, now it's fire. Anyways, and you look at a farmer's field. I'll just throw that out there real quick. You look at a farmer's field. When he burns his field to be able to regenerate the field.
That's right.
But he sets it on fire and burns it. You'd think, well, that's impossible. But once he burns it, the soil is made new. There's more stuff, and now he can plant it, and stuff will grow where it was getting old. So, how this is going to look, I don't know. We all going to be sitting out there with marshmallows saying, "Burn, baby, burn," or is it instantaneous? You know, an explosion, so to speak. That it's just. I mean, the way Peter was talking about it melts away.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when something melts, it's not instantly gone. You kind of see the process of it melting away. Even the elements are going to melt away.
Yeah.
You know, clouds and wind, and I mean, what do you call the elements when you start thinking of the elements of the heavens? Anyways, there's all kinds of thoughts that we could just sit and discuss right there for a really long time on what that could look like. But
Well, as in a lot of this, we can sit down and it doesn't hurt to elaborate or to talk about it because we don't know. God tells us He's going to destroy it. We know He's going to destroy it.
That's
see,
right.
And I agree wholeheartedly that the oceans serve a purpose on this earth, but they won't serve a purpose in heaven. So there's no need for them. See, so I agree with that. What is the purpose of the ocean? So
right, there is a purpose for the stream in 22 or the river.
The tree.
That's right. There's purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Debbie, with you, go over there to John 14, 2 and 3.
There is more than enough room in my Father's home.
Amen.
If this were not so, would I have told you that I am going to prepare a place for you? When everything is ready, I will come and get you so that you will always be with me where I am.
So this is the land or the place or the home that Christ has said He went to prepare for us. We already know He went to prepare for us. So it says here, and then I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven like a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And we're going to get on over there in verse 11 and 12 and go on. We're going to discuss what this new Jerusalem looks like. But again, why is it so hard to believe? Christ Himself told us, I'm going to go prepare a place for you, that where I am, you may be also. Is Christ going to be in this new heaven with us?
Yes.
Of course He is. Is He always going to be with us? Of course He is. See? We're always going to be with Him. So He's already told us that. So, and now here it is, of course it's in the future, but here it is coming into place or coming into play. Here it's happening. And then people say, I don't know. I don't know why they say I don't know, I mean, it states it pretty clearly there. But so we have and there's more scriptures, guys, we could pull up. There's more scriptures to talk about the new heaven and the new earth, the old heaven being passed away, the old earth. We're not even going to think about it. This new heaven and new earth is going to be so beautiful, so luxurious. We're not even going to think about the old one. We look at here in North Carolina, I mean, the beautiful blue skies and the nice rolling hills and the beautiful grass and the nice lakes. I mean, North Carolina's a gorgeous place. I mean, it really is. You can go up in the mountains of North Carolina and ski, or go down to the ocean and fish and catch great big fish. I mean, North Carolina's a great place to live. We're not even going to think about it. It's not even going to cross our minds, because the new heaven and new earth is going to be that great. The displace, it's not even going to be a memory. Then people are going to look back and say, "Here, you remember the picture where I was out on it?" No, we're not even talking about that. It's going to be gone. All right, Jimmy, we're still in Revelation chapter 21, and if you'll read verse 3 and verse 4.
3 and 4 and 12.
Yeah, still chapter 21, verse 3 and verse 4.
And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away.
So, well, first of all, we'll talk about God, and I got down there, this is the way God intended it to be. God is in heaven. And of course, if the heaven comes down here on earth, God's going to be in heaven here. So, I mean, it just only makes sense. It's God's in heaven. Wherever heaven is, that's where God's going to be. And you see, God, He wants to be our God. He came down and He walked in the early part of the day with Adam and Eve, and He wanted to be, and He wanted that relationship with them, and that's what He wanted. See, so this is going to be really the way God intended it to be from the beginning. He's going to be in heaven, and we're going to be in heaven with Him. I mean, so when the Bible says when you die, you're going to heaven. Well, you are. Wherever heaven is, that's where we're going to be too. Because wherever Christ is, that's where we're going to be. So when we were in heaven, and Christ got on the horse and came back to earth, we got on the horse and come back with Him. Because wherever Christ is, we are. See? And now He's going to be in the new heaven, and God Himself is going to be in the new heaven, and He's going to be with us. And then it talks about the things besides God being with us, the things that are going to be no more. There's the no mores. So we read verse 3 and 4, especially in verse 4. What no mores is going to be in heaven? No more what?
No more crying, no more sorrow, pain.
Yeah.
All the former things are gone, it says.
No more tears.
Yeah, no more crying.
No more
Death, no more sorrow.
no death. No more sorrow. No more crying. No more pain. And it's going to be going for how long? Forever. So now think about that. Whatever causes us pain here on this earth, whether it be pain from injury, pain from sickness, pain from a lost loved one, pain, it's gone. No pain whatsoever. Your back hurts, your knees hurt. We learn to live with those things when we get older. There's going to be no pain. Someone tells you, well, jump down here. I better not. My knees. I better not. Someone tells you, lift up something. Well, no, my back. I better. We're not even going to think about that when we're in heaven. No more pain. No sorrow. Can you imagine in a place when there's no sorrow? Not just no sorrow in our life, no sorrow in anybody's life. No one's going to come over and tell you some sad tale. You know what happened to me? I got up this morning and had a flat tire. I went to work and got in a wreck. Went to the hospital and had to pay that emergency room bill.
Nope.
Well, that means there's no emergency rooms in heaven.
That's right. Won't need them.
Won't need no emergency rooms.
Heaven itself is there.
I don't want to say that. Don't want to say those shipped, but ain't gonna be no ambulance drivers. And we don't need no ambulances, do we? I mean, think about that. There ain't gonna be no big hospitals. Why would we need a big hospital in heaven? Think about the things. Think about the things when you think about this saying, no death. All those funeral homes is going to be out of business. Won't be no funeral homes in heaven. There's no death. See, won't be no funeral homes in heaven. What else goes with funeral homes? Graveyards.
That's right.
Won't be no graveyards in heaven. Ain't no graveyards in heaven. Think about that.
Like funeral bills. I didn't know where you're going with that.
Funeral bills.
I don't know. Insurance. I don't know. Insurance salesmen. I don't know what you're talking about.
And no caskets. It's not going to be that.
No shootings, no killings, none of that.
No shootings, no killings.
Horrible crimes involved.
The one news station, I forget which one it was, on Mondays or Tuesdays will tell us everybody that got shot and killed in Chicago over the weekend. It's just horrendous. No more news reports. That'd be good, right?
That'd be good about that.
That'd be good.
Right.
No more news. Nobody telling us the news. We don't. What about great big giant government buildings? This building and that building. Everywhere you go, there's a courthouse and there's the federal building and there's a post office and that's all. We won't need those things, see? Well, those things are not going to be in heaven, see? There's going to be a lot of stuff in heaven. We don't know what all is going to be there, but we know a lot of things are not going to be there, see? And it'd be no elections. There won't be no need for people lying about what they're going to promise you on elections, because there's going to be no elections, you know. One of them calling this one that, one calling all that. There won't be that. I mean, it'd be hard if you was a politician. It'd be hard for you to get to heaven. No, it's not going to be hard for you. I'm teasing. Nothing going on. But see, think about these guys. These guys live for these elections. I mean, they live for that kind of stuff. You know.
So yeah, I want to. When we have been raptured, the church. I'll say we make sure I understand this. Say this correctly. The church has been raptured out. Mm-hmm. The church received new bodies. The church came back with Christ in chapter 19. We fought the Antichrist or the devil or Satan, the beast, all them bad boys. We did the thing. We ruled and reigned with him for 1,000 years. We've kind of had all this taken care of, where the corruptible put on incorruptible and the mortal put on immortality. But then there's all these people that are left that they went through the judgment. They went through their names were found. They weren't cast into the lake of fire. And so now God has said, okay, I'm making everything new. And he's letting them know, now I'm going to wipe away the tears. I'm going to wipe away the pain. I'm going to wipe away everything. So at some point in time, they got to catch up with us. If I can make that statement. Yeah. You know, we've got new bodies. We've came back with Christ. We're here, and now Christ says, okay, I'm going to make all this new. And now all that you've had to go through, I'm going to wipe it away. You're not going to have any pain anymore. I'm going to wipe it away. We've already went to heaven. We've either been raptured out or we were dead and rose first, and then those who are alive and remain were caught up. So I wonder just how big a celebration, this is what I want to get to, how big a celebration that's going to be when the Bible talks about how when somebody gets saved, the angels in heaven are rejoicing. Yeah. Well, now we've come back. We know what these people are about to get. And God says, okay, I'm getting ready to wipe it all away. And how excited we're going to be for those who made it and they're now in. They're now in the same thing. Yeah. How much we're going to have a celebration along with the angels having a celebration. All these people made it. They're saved. They're in. You know, their names was found in the Lamb's Book of Life. They didn't get caught up by the second death. They're not in the lake of fire. And they're going to enjoy eternity with the Lord in this new Jerusalem, in this new heaven, this new earth that's going to come down. You know, we got a little special 7 years, if you will, of a honeymoon period with the Lord, you know, as the bride of Christ. But now here comes the new heaven and the new earth, and now we're all coming together as one. It's just, and I, if I can be very specific, it's mostly going to be the Jews that we're getting excited about that finally made it. They finally made it. I mean, if you think about it that way,
that's true.
These are mostly because it's the Jews that were left behind. It was the Jews that the tribulation is for. It's the Jews that are finally realizing, oh no, they looked on him who they pierced and mourned. We're finally excited. So all this has all come full circle. The gospel was given to the Jews first, and then the Gentiles. The Gentiles were given the gospel to make the Jews jealous. The church age began. The Gentiles ran with it. The church age Gentiles ran with it. The Jews kind of fussed at us. I don't believe in that thing you're talking about. Jesus ain't come yet. Well, then the tribulation comes. They realize Jesus has come. That is the Christ. We got a little special reward for being the Gentiles to make the Jews jealous. Finally, they get what we got, and now we're all one again.
That's right.
It's going to be a really good time. I mean, we're going to have a party. It's going to be all, I mean, when you think about it, all of a sudden, you're like all your brothers and sisters that you've been missing all your life that you didn't know you had as far as the Jewish relationship of God and the church, it's all finally brought together as one. You know, there's one way to be saved, and that's through Jesus Christ. And so finally, the Jews and the Gentiles are truly brought together. Christ The Bible says that Christ did it in one body. There was no longer Jew or Gentile, slave or free. There's saved and unsaved, basically, is all there is now. But in the end, they'll all be saved. We're all one. We're all saved. There's no more unsaved. There's no more. It's just
Right.
We're all now one big giant family.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, man. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to be having myself a good old time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what I want to be doing. Beating the drum, playing the tambourine, jumping up and down. I'm going to have myself a good old time when all this happens, and they finally get what we've been able to experience now for 1,007
Yeah.
years or
Yeah.
whatever, however long it's been, and
Yeah.
they've lived through all that turmoil, and they get it. They receive it. They stayed the course. He who endured to the end is
That's right.
saved. That's going to be fun. I mean, it should get you excited. I don't know how.
Yeah,
It's going to be a lot of fun.
be a lot of fun.
Praise God, that's right.
Well, we'll do one more group, and then we'll be done. We'll do 5 through 7. I think it's you, Jimmy, I believe. But that's all right, whether it's you or not. We'll start with you. We've got plenty of verses to go around here. With Revelations, chapter 21, and this is, we'll end it with this when we talk about this. Revelation chapter 5, Revelation chapter 21, verses 5 through 7, yeah.
Okay, let me start.
Yeah,
Okay. And he sat upon the throne, let's see, and he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son.
And that's good.
Praise the Lord.
just great stuff here. Great stuff. It means talking about it is finished. Okay, so we're going to go. Debbie, going to have you go to Romans chapter 8, 16 and 17, and Chip, if you'll go to 1 John 3, 2, and it says he makes all things new. He says it's finished. So just going down to a few things that Jimmy said in verse 6, he says, and we already talked about he's making all things new, but he is making all things new. And he tells, who's he talking to again? He's talking to John. You know, he says, write this down. And remember, sometimes we get caught up and we don't remember that John is being told what to write, and John's writing it down. And sometimes John is being told what to write by an angel sent by God. But sometimes John's just the guy sitting on the throne says, write this down. He said, I'm the Alpha and Omega. Have we seen the Alpha and Omega? The beginning and the ending, the first. Have we seen any of that before in the Revelations?
Yes,
Yeah.
Where was that at before?
it was in the first chapter.
It was in the first chapter. And who do we say that was?
Starting with J.
Said it was Jesus.
Yeah.
So if it was Jesus in chapter 1, who is it in chapter 21?
Jesus.
Come on. Yeah, see?
He's all the way through it.
Yeah, so it was Jesus then, it's Jesus now. On the cross, when the guy said it's finished, who was that up on the cross said it was finished?
Jesus.
Jesus. Who's saying it's finished now? See, it's not complicated. People try to get all kinds of complicated, but it's not complicated. He says, so he identifies himself. He lets us know who he is. And of course, over in chapter 22, we'll get him in some red letters, so we know it's Jesus because we got the red letters that tells us Jesus talking. But I mean, we know who this is. I'm the Alpha and the Omega. We know who. So okay, so we got that straight. All right. So all who are victorious will inherit these blessings. And I will be their God, and they will be my children. All who are victorious, Debbie, if you read Romans chapter 8, 16 and 17.
It's good stuff.
For his spirit joins with our spirit to affirm that we are God's children. And since we are his children, we are his heirs. In fact, together with Christ, we are his heirs of God's glory. But if we are to share this glory, we must also share his suffering.
Okay, so we've shared in the suffering now. We're going to share in his glory. We're heirs, we're joint heirs. Now, guys, I know this is difficult for you to believe sometimes, but it is. We're going to have the same body as Christ. We're going to have the same inheritance. I mean, we've got heaven. What more do we want, you know? We've got heaven, see? We've got it. This is our inheritance. No more tears, no more sorrow, no more death, no more pain. This is the inheritance he's talking about, see? Incorruptible bodies, we can't be corrupted, see? All these things are ours. Finally, it's ours. And you say, wow, I'm glad but we're only going to live on this earth 80, 90 years, whatever it is, and go through, this is forever. We've lived in millennial reign for 1,000 years. Now we're living in heaven forever. See, so we're joint heirs. So it's already been told to us we were joint heirs. See, it already been told to us we were going to be called God's children. See, we're God's children. Wow, God is our Father. Isn't it wonderful? God is our Father. Okay, was 1 John 3:2.
Dear friends, we are already God's children, but he has not yet shown us what we will be like when Christ appears. But we do know that we will be like him.
That's right.
We will see him as he really is.
So we're going to see Christ as he really is, but he's going to let us see each other as we really are. Because how Christ is, you mean we'll know each other.
Stop. I'm leaving it alone.
That's true. That's right. We'll know each other, and we will be like Christ. He's already told us that, see? And I know people have taken this, and they've even made religions out of this. They've taken this, and they've twisted it and turned it and all that kind of stuff. Don't get twisted and turned here. He's told us many times in the Bible that we're going to be joint heirs with Christ. Joint heirs with Christ. And we don't know what he's going to be like, but we know that we're going to be like him when we get to heaven, see? Man, it's just going to be wonderful. I mean, all the things, and we haven't even got into the streets of gold and gates of pearl. We'll get into that. That'll be a few Wednesdays before we get into that. But we'll get into that. But that's what I say. So people get it all complicated, but don't let it get complicated. We've already been told who these people are. We've already been told what's going on. And now John's seeing this, and we're going to be living it. John is seeing it, and even in John gets overwhelmed. John, the great apostle, the guy that was on the Isle of Patmos, is he going to be overwhelmed by? Yeah, John's going to be overwhelmed by this. You'll watch toward the end, you'll see that. Is it going to be a little overwhelming to us? Yeah, be a little bit overwhelming to us. Yeah, be a little overwhelming. See, John sees it. We're going to be living it. See, and of course, John's going to be living it with us at that time. But yeah, you think about that. No more pain, no more. Someone say, "How was your day?" "Oh, I had this pain, and I had this, and I had to go see the doctor, and I had to go down and pay the fine, and I had to pay my taxes, and not no more." All that, not no more. See, none of that's going to happen. See, so it's very simple to see who this is. We're going to start next. We're going to start next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, yeah, you'll be here. Next Wednesday, verse 8. I want someone to run over there to verse 15. I think it's verse 15. Read verse 15 in chapter 22.
22?
Yeah, read verse 15.
I got you. For without are dogs and sorcerers and whoremongers and murderers and idolaters and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
That's what it says in verse 15. Now, Jimmy, you read verse 8.
Verse 8?
Verse 8, yeah.
22. And I, John, saw these things and heard them, and when I had heard...
No, verse 8, 21.
And 21.
Oh, 21, okay.
Yeah.
Verse 8, 21, all right, I thought you were still 22.
No.
Okay.
But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is second death.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Those lists sound a whole lot alike.
They do.
Yeah, it sounds
A whole lot alike, don't they?
Yeah.
A whole lot alike. People get it all confused. So I want you to see the list in verse 8. I want you to see the list in verse 15. And then we're going to go with a couple other lists. We have nothing to be confused about. See, let's read one more. Chip, run over there in chapter 21 and read verse 27. Verse 27 in chapter 21.
Nothing evil will be allowed to enter, nor anyone who practices shameful idolatry and dishonesty, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life.
Who's going to be in? Only those names, and you see that same list? See, there's another list, guys. God just, I guess he just put his list in there by accident. I want you to think about that. Think about that next Wednesday, because that's where we're going to start. Next Wednesday is with these lists. What's these lists all about? These lists. And a lot of them sound alike. We'll give you a couple more, but we'll save that for next Wednesday, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll try, hopefully, and pray that we won't get kicked off of YouTube.
Everything has a purpose.
We'll say. All right. We just did how many verses? 6, 7?
7.
So get you a little prepared for next Wednesday, so you be ready for it when you come in, and think about all the things we talked about. No tears, no sea. What's the meaning of all those things? And it'll become clear. The more you read it, the more it'll become clear. It'll become very clear to you. So like, share, and subscribe.